All right, Shalom, Shalom. I want to give all praises, and honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak, Wadash. I want to say double honors and give double honors to the apostles and the bishop elders of Great Millstone for teaching us this word in truth and sincerity and for ruling well. And salutations to my fellow Akim across the four corners of the globe, preaching and prophesying and believing in the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Shalom to the 144,000, the elect men, prophets of the Lord, along with the mixed multitude of men, women, and children that also believe. All right, I'm the brother Gabar Yahawada from GMS Hawaii, coming to you with another lesson, and it's going to be basically a reply to Elder Apostle Gabar's video entitled "Are You a Disciple of Lord Shiva, an Elamite deity who adorns the Shiva Jatas, which are the dreadlocks?" And so I watched this whole video in its entirety, and then there's a point in the video that Apostle Gabar mentioned, where that whole dreadlock shit really stemmed from, and we know it stemmed from Benjamin dealing with those Ethiopians and so-called East Indians, all right, the Elamites over there in Jamaica, and that's really where the modern uh, whole concept of the whole dreadlocks. You see Jake with these damn dreadlocks on their head, and these Jakes really believe that their hair is their antenna, and the more dreads they have, you got dreadlock wigs, you got men and women wearing this shit, and it's nothing but confusion, and it's a heathenistic culture. It don't come from the Israelite culture, all right? This straight up comes from the East Indians and really the East Indians and the Hamitic culture. So the Ethiopians are Hamitic too, and they wear this shit, you know. But Jake tried to put their spin on it and give it a spiritual, some type of spiritual meaning. Talking about it's the ancestors, the fashion of the ancestors, and they have nothing to do with us. And this shit really got popularized through Bob Marley, the Rastafarian movement, and it's really something for people who are lazy to do their hair, and also too, it gives the so-called black woman, because she don't naturally have the average black woman don't naturally have long hair. It's all it's jacked up because the Lord put a curse on our women real quick, and then I'll continue on with what the research that I did via the Apostle Gabar putting this putting that spirit out there through the spirit party of Habashah Shai that influenced me to want to do a video on this, or inspired me through the inspiration of Apostle Gabar's video, which inspired me. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 3, all right? Because it's really a fashion thing. This got nothing to do with you Jakes having some so-called spiritual meaning behind it, because there really ain't. It's a heathenistic culture. That's all that shit is. But this is Isaiah chapter 3, verse I'll start at 16. Is Judah's woman denounced, and you denounce with a curse. Moreover, the Lord Yahweh Bashmel Shah said, because the daughters of Zion are haughty, and walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and making a tinkling with their feet. Therefore the Lord will smite with thee a scab the crown of the head and the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover their secret parts. Let me skip down. Uh, Salaki, just bear with me. Yeah, verse 24. And it shall come to pass that instead of a sweet smell, there shall be stink, and instead of a girdle rent, instead of a well set hair, baldness, instead of a stomacher, girding of sackcloth, and burning instead of beauty. And that's what you see when it comes to the Judite women and the women of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. You know, the other tribes, they don't have that problem with the growing of the hair. But Judah women have it, especially because of their haughtiness, and also too, their hair is their glory. So the Lord took that away because of their wickedness. It says instead of, in the NLT, it says instead of smelling of sweet perfume, she will stink, and she does. And she will wear a rope for a sash. And you see that these women, these big women, they put these ropes around their bellies, you know, and her elegant hair will fall out. And her elegant hair will fall out. She will wear rough burlap instead of rich robes. Shame will replace her beauty, and that's exactly what you have. So again, this was, they basically were trying to circumnavigate or circumvent the curse that was laid on a black woman. The only time you see the end dub with so-called long hair is if she dreaded out, you know, or put a wig on, which all of this shit is those things today. And then it's not only the women that's doing it, then you got the men. The scripture says that a man should not have long hair. Like the Apostle Gabar brought out in his video, the precept where it said we had to pull our hair. I'll get that real quick. Okay, we had to pull our hair. And we all are priests. Every last one of the tribes, the men of the tribes, we're a priest, you know. I just want to see if I can find it. Pull. Right. So this is the ordinance of the Levites. And like Apostle Bar brought out in his video, you know, speaking on this same topic in the same scripture, that all of the men of Israel we are all priests, all 12 tribes, right? And so it says the ordinance of the Levites. I'm gonna skip down. It says, and when they go, verse 19 and 20, and when they go forth into to the utter court, even into the utter court of the people, they shall put off their garments wherein they minister, and lay them in the holy chambers. And they shall put on other garments, and they shall not sanctify the people with their garments. Neither shall they shave their heads, nor suffer their locks. And this is a lot of these jakes. They try to use this as a precept to grow dreadlocks, you know, which locks was just your hair, your braids. You know, we wore braids. We didn't have that shit, you know, and the braids didn't come past a certain length. It says, neither shall they shave their heads, nor suffer their locks to grow long, and they shall only poll their heads, right? And this is what priests are supposed to do. When we are, all 12 tribes are priests. I'll get that real quick. I just want to read this in the NLT. It says in the NLT, they must neither shave their heads, right? Which that's a style in this world too. You know, when we were in the world, you know, Jake, if your hair didn't grow a certain length, you know, you basically wore a Michael Jordan. You just put a razor to your head. And we ain't supposed to do that. They must neither shave their heads nor let their hair grow too long. So that's what it meant. Not letting your locks grow, meaning your hair grow too long. Instead, they must trim it regularly. And a person that grows dreadlocks, they don't trim their hair regularly. You know, they'll, you know, obviously you see Jake putting these different styles on their hair, you know, lining their shit up, mixing the whole Hamitic hairstyles up and Elamite hairstyles up, right? So that's the only, again, this is the only time you Jake women could have hair that's long is when you put a wig on or if you grow dreads. And it's nothing but dead hair. You got, I remember Tracy Chapman and shit, you know, and you got these Jakes with that whole back to Africa mindset and that whole Rastafarian mindset, which we're going to get into, that's wearing this shit. And this dude looked just like an East Indian. He's no different than this guy. I think I had a picture of the dude. Let's see. I think I had a picture. Yeah, Shiva dreads. Look, he's no different than this guy. And this is where this whole dreadlock style come from, like Apostle Bar brought out in his video. They come from the worship of Shiva. And these people grow their hair like this. They're trying to emulate this idol. You know, this 4 or 5 arm idol with dreadlocks. All right? And just because you're ignorant of the law doesn't mean that the Lord is going to make you finally guiltless. Now, the book of Numbers, chapter 15, verse 29, it says, ye shall have one law for him that sinneth through ignorance, both for him that is born among the children of Israel, and for the stranger that sojourneth among you. All right? So a lot of Jake, you out here sinning in ignorance. And at one time, the Most High, he winked at our ignorance, but now the truth is out. The word is spread. You know, the apostles, the bishop elders, us brothers on down, we're telling you what the right way is. And Jake ain't trying to hear it. It says, NLT, these same instructions apply both to the native-born Israelite and to the foreigners living among you. So the Israelites that's born in other lands, the same law applies. So it don't matter if you're ignorant of the law. Ignorance of the law, you still gonna be judged. You still gonna be judged because this shit right here, this is nothing but idolatry. You can church it up, you can splice it up, you can put whatever bullshit meaning behind it. You're going off, both the men and the women. Again, there's looking at these jakes. This shit come from this shit. It look just like this guy. And the Lord told us what in Jeremiah 10:1. Hear ye the word which Yahweh Bashem Yahushai speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Exactly. Right? Because we have our own customs, we have our own ways. And the reason why Jake put on these cultures, these heathenistic cultures, is because we've been living amongst these heathens. You listen to the rhetoric and the bullshit that come out of these heathens' mouth, and you think we're all one, we're all the same, and we're not. Our people, you Israelites, you Negroes, Latino, Native Americans, we're the only ones that's putting other people culture on and putting it to ourselves. These heathen like Esau, he does it because he literally has no culture. His culture is just a culture of robbery, violence, murder, death, kill, lying, and stealing. That's literally his culture, wickedness. But these other nations, they practice wickedness through their idolatry as well too. But these are not natural customs to our people. The Lord said what? That we should seek out the old path. Matter of fact, let me get that. Seek out the old path, right? And which way is right? Jeremiah 6:16. Jeremiah 6:16. Oh, why does that? Jeremiah 6:16. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, stand ye in the ways, and see and ask for the old paths. Where is the good way? And walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. Right. So, Jake, you don't want to find out what the good way is. You Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, you don't want to find out, seek the old paths. You think you wanna walk in the lust of your own heart, right? And again, you Jakes, you know different. Look at this shit. You think you touching the earth. You think you one with the earth because you got this bullshit in your hair. And again, the women do it because they're not they're especially the women around Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Your hair don't naturally grow long like that. So you'll allow dead hair to accumulate on your hair to get that long lock, luscious look, and you do all these different, hairdos, and that gives you a false sense of glory. And then the men, you do that shit because you going right along with Eve into this idolatrous Shiva bullshit. Again, you try to say that having this long dead hair is a natural thing. 100%, that you're one with the earth. Most people like this, they got this dirty look to them, like these guys, like the East Indian dude, super dirty. It's a filthy thing, which I had this video queued up on my YouTube. The spiritual significance between for jatas. Let me play a little bit of this. Let me see if this will play. Hopefully, I don't get a strike or copyright strike. Let me play a little bit of this shit right here, because this ain't got nothing to do with us. And matter of fact, yeah, I'm gonna play Apostle Gabar's video in a second too. Let me play a little bit of this. Hopefully this comes up.
Nityanandam, this is Mahajaya, and as you can see today, I look a little different, and that is because I have dreadlocks. And I actually want to talk to you about dreadlocks and where they originated, and actually the spiritual significance of dreadlocks, or as in India, as they call them, Shiva Jatas. So,
yep, just like Apostle Gabar brought out his video, the Shiva Jatas is really them fucking dreadlocks, man. This is not Israelite culture. This is not a culture that you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians supposed to be following. Vibrate higher with your dreadlocks. You're not vibrating higher. You're at a low frequency.
Dreadlocks actually originated in India. Shiva is the first being ever to wear dreadlocks.
And Shiva doesn't exist. Shiva is an idol. All right, this guy right here, what's a lot here? This guy right here, this is an idol, an androgynous idol that doesn't exist. This is the book of Psalms 95, 96, and 5. For all the gods of the nations are idols, but the Lord Yahweh Bashem Shai made the heavens. And this is the exact reason why the Lord said, don't make no express image of him. He didn't show his face to the people when he was taking us out of Egypt, and we went to Mount Horeb, and Moses asked, can he look upon his face? Because what Jake would have did, they would have tried to make an image of his visage and worship that and not him. You know? Salaki. That word for idols in the Hebrew is alayal. I mean alayal, Salakia. Alayal, which is no value, things of naught, an image. So it's worthless, false gods. So Shiva is a false god. Shiva is a worthless thing. It doesn't exist. A motherfucker can't hurt you, you know. All it is with East Indians and Jakes with this spirit on them. You got demons on you. A nigga got a demon on you. He's trying to emulate a caricature that was created out of somebody's filthy mind. All right. So that's what this go to. This is nothing but straight pure idolatry. And like Apostle Gabar said in his video, you Jakes with this shit on, whether you know it or not, that dreadlock shit, you worshiping Shiva, an idol. And you're going to get dealt for that. You're going to get dealt with by the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and his son, Yahushai. You're going to get dealt with. You know, you Israelites that's in this mindset. You know, at least you repent. And you got Jakes that call themselves in the truth, knowing that they Israelites wearing this shit. Like over there in the IUIC, they allow you to have this shit. And you got Jakes. I've seen a couple, you know, men amongst Great Millstone trying to kind of grow the same type of hair. It might be small, but it'll be like, you know, it'll kind of look like it, but it's not. Like it ain't long, but it's the short version of this shit. No, this ain't our hairstyles, bro. This ain't how we rock out in the ancient world. You know, in the ancient world, when we was in our right mind, in our right state, we didn't have this shit. And that's why the apostles tell us brothers, you know, cut your hair, man. Don't shave it bald. You know, some brothers like myself, you know, I've been bald since I was 4 years old. And that's due to a hair disorder, right? But you got some jakes that just shave their shit because it's low. If the hairline then step back a few feet, and Jake mad. So Jake just shaved it like it's cool. You get that Michael Jordan look. Nah, it ain't cool. Same thing with the dreadlock thing. You trying to shape it up and trying to make it look like something, make it look like, you know, it's kind of righteous, but it's not. No, nigga, it's wicked. Cut the dreads, period, because there's nothing but dead hair anyway. And they don't go back to us. Like this woman said, this shit come from East India.
And, you know, out of dreadlocks, and, you know, being ever to wear dreadlocks, being call them Shiva Jatas. So dreadlocks actually originated in India. You know, Shiva is the first being ever to wear dreadlocks. And, you know, out in the West, a lot of people, when they see dreadlocks, they think of Jamaicans, they think of the country Jamaica, or they think of, you know, the music icon Bob Marley.
And all of those people made that shit popular. Jake took some shit from the heathens and made that shit popular and made it part of pop culture. And again, you're trying to emulate somebody. They're trying to emulate an idol. You, Jake, try to emulate that idol, Bob Marley. That's why the Lord killed that nigga with a foot cancer. He took that nigga off the earth, man. Because he was off, man. And a lot of you Jakes, you go to these niggas' houses, niggas with dreadlocks, they smoking weed, they burning the fucking ganja, which they don't even know where that shit came from, you know? And what you gonna bring that out in this lesson too?
But even though Bob Marley made dreadlocks really, really popular, he definitely made dreadlocks an icon for people to wear. The originator of dreadlocks, the trendsetter of dreadlocks, was definitely Shiva.
And Shiva don't exist. Shiva never existed. I always we me and the brothers did a video. If you seen a nigga walking down the street with 4 fucking arms, man, you're gonna get away from him. You're not gonna worship this motherfucker unless you got some super demon on you. You're gonna see a blue dude with 4 fucking arms and some dreadlocks and some fucking paint on their face. Bro, you'll get the fuck away from these people, bro. Worshiping a goddamn calf. This shit all goes back to ancient Babylon, ancient Egypt, them fucking Elamites and Sumeria, them Persians. You know, worshiping you see somebody with a cobra, a real live cobra around their fucking neck. The motherfucker got 4 arms. He's blue, and the motherfucker got dreadlocks. You're gonna get and sitting on a tiger, a dead tiger. You're gonna get out the way, man. You're gonna get out the way, man. So Shiva never existed, and Jake made that shit popular. Like they do every fucking thing.
So I actually want to explain the significance of jatas and why we have them and their spiritual significance. So when we have jatas, right, and actually dreadlocks is in the agamas. They tell you exactly how many dreadlocks to have on your head, how long to wear them, and even to the point of where they said, like in the agamas, where it says that to even put 5 rudrakshas after you get your jatas. So actually, let me go into that. So in the agamas, it says that you can have like a number of jatas starting with 5, 11, 13, 26, 28, 36, 50, and then 82. So those are the number amount. I actually got 50. And then the length is supposed to be to your Swadhisthana chakra. The reason for that is the longer your hair is, it actually is strengthening your nervous system.
And it's not. That's bullshit. That's pseudoscience. That's bullshit. That's straight up bullshit. And this is the reason why the Lord told us not to have that. Jake wear long hair thinking that shit is cool, especially the men. It's not cool, bro. It ain't cool. You Jakes, you men out there with dreadlocks and shit and this long hair, that shit is a heathenistic culture. Just having long hair for a man is heathenistic. That's why Paul spoke against it. Said a man shouldn't have that shit. Okay? This shit it put a whole nother spirit on you. The women got it, the men got it, the kids got it, and you put your own pseudoscience behind this shit. And it's straight up demonic and it's straight up heathenistic. And you just saw it. Let me play this real quick.
Any nation ever traded its gods for new ones, even though they are not gods at all?
Yeah.
Yet my people have exchanged their glorious God, Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, the Heavenly Father and His Son. Yet my people, who are the Israelites, have exchanged their glorious God for worthless idols. That's what Shiva Jatas is, a worthless idol. And it's definitely a thing of this world. That's why many Jakes are wearing those dreadlocks. And it started with Benjamin with that Rasta nonsense, which that Rasta nonsense goes back to Ethiopia and East India. Okay, Ethiopia and East India. All right, the Elamites. Okay,
right, and that's what we're going to show you. That shit goes back to them Ethiopians, the Elamites, the East Indians, the Ethiopians, them Hamitic people. Jake get all into that shit, trying to seek love from these other nations. All right. This says I'm gonna read what Apostle Gabar was reading, Jeremiah 2:11. Have a nation change their gods, which are yet no gods. Right. Shiva is not a god. Jata, them shit, that ain't no fucking god. You emulating an idol. None of these nations' gods are none of these nation idols are true gods. They're nothing but idols. Nothing. That's all they are. They're vain, worthless. Have a nation change their gods, which are yet no gods, but my people have changed their glory for that which doth not profit. Exactly. Because see, these nations, they've been rocking out with their idols since they had them shits. They ain't changed that shit. Now, you got other idolatry going on, Christianity and Islam and shit. But these nations, they pretty much kept their God. But our people, what you do, you change your living power for that which is not alive. You change your gods, your living God for dead idols, man. You know, you've done it time and time again, and you're doing it now. All right. And because we speak against this, you Jakes, you get mad. Oh man, you just trying to stop our shine. You want to stop our this and that. And you Jakes just do this shit because it's trendy, man. You Jakes, you don't do this shit because you understand what you getting into. Very few Jakes really realize that this dreadlock style Rasta shit go back to them East Indians and them fucking Ethiopians, two nations that didn't even want you. And there's video of Haile Selassie getting off the plane saying that, he wasn't for y'all. Yeah, Jake jumping up on a fucking tarmac, going crazy for this dude. And he didn't look at himself as a god. But you Jakes did. Says this is Rastafarianism. Uh, this is from history.com. It says, rising from the proliferation of Ethiopian and Pan-Africanism, Rastafarianism took root in Jamaica following the coronation of Ethiopian Emperor Haile Selassie, which he was an East Indian himself. He wasn't even an Ethiopian, he was an East Indian. Haile Selassie the First in 1930, a spiritual movement based on the belief in Selassie's divinity, which he wasn't a divine individual. He died and he buried his nigga under a toilet, you know? It says in Haile Selassie's divinity, its followers, so they basically made a living man an idol. Its followers congregated around preachers like Leonard Howell, who founded the first prominent Rastafarian community. Let's look and see who this nigga is, right? Leonard Howell, okay? This dude right here. And this nigga ain't even have dreadlocks. This fucking nigga. Look, a wicked ass nigga. Among my people I found no wicked. Leonard Percival Howe, June 1898 to January 1981, also known as the Gong. And that's what they call that. Didn't they call that nigga Bob Marley the Gong or the Junior Gong or whatever? It says also known as the Gong or Gigi Marga or Gangun Guru, was a Jamaican religious figure. According to his biographer, Helen Lay, Howe was born into an Anglican family. He was one of the first preachers of the Rastafari movement, along with Joseph Hibbert and Archibald Dunkley, and is known by many as the first Rasta. Born in May Crow River, Howe left Jamaica as a youth, traveling many places, including Panama and New York, and returned in 1932. He began preaching in 1933 about what he considered the symbolic portent of the African diaspora, the crowning Rastafari Makonnen as Emperor Haile Selassie. His preaching asserted that Haile Selassie was the Messiah returned to earth, and he wasn't. This dude, this guy, this dude right here, this dude couldn't do shit for his people. He bowed the knee to Queen Elizabeth. This dude, he's the Messiah. You out of your pot. You out of pocket. You out of pocket. This dude right here, a dumbass, this guy. So like, this guy right here, man. Look at this dude face again. This dude right here. He spreaded this shit. He's no different. And I noticed something too. In the 1930s and 20s, you had a lot of wild thinking Jakes, man. Which you had that dude that started the what is this man's name? Noble Drew Ali. He was a warlock. You got this dude Leonard Howe. You had a whole bunch of Jakes and during that time, bringing up these weird ass doctrines, and Jake was following this shit. This guy right here, this nigga with a part in his head, a lineup, a little fro. He didn't have dreadlocks, but you niggas got dreadlocks, right? This guy, right? A lot of you Jakes get into this shit and you don't even know what you into. That's why the Lord said, what? My people are foolish. They are sadists. Let me get that real quick. I know it's in Jeremiah 2. It might be in the same chapter. Oh, I love this chapter, man. This chapter is real good. Salakia. This is Jeremiah 4 and 22. For my people is foolish, they have not known me. They are sottish, meaning stupid, children, and they have none understanding. They are wise to do evil, but to do good, they have no knowledge, man. You think doing good is giving somebody a sandwich, helping an old lady across the street, opening doors up to some wild niggas, thinking you helping somebody, helping some homeless person. That ain't good. I mean, it's cool. You help somebody out, but that ain't good. That's not good. Good is following after the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Good is following after his laws and commandments, being obedient to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, our God. We have a God. These nations have idols. We have a living power. All right, let's go back to this Leonard guy. It says, the crowning of Rock. It says he began preaching in 1933 about what he considered the symbolic portent for the African diaspora, the crowning of Rastafari Mekanon as Emperor Haile Selassie I of Ethiopia. His preaching asserted that Haile Selassie was the Messiah returned to earth, and he published a book called The Promised Key. Although this resulted in his being arrested, tried for sedition, and imprisoned for 2 years, the Rastafarian movement grew. Over the following years, Howell came into conflict with all the establishment authorities of Jamaica, the planters, the trade unions, established churches, police, colonial authorities. Howell was seen as a threat largely due to the anti-colonial message of the Rastafarian movement, which he was purporting along with the sermons promoting the idea of a positive black racial identity. Local rulings elites were uneasy with Howell's popular call for black people to take a stand. Blah, blah, blah. It says, as his followers grew, the threat of Howell's core beliefs and power of black people to overcome white oppression and his movement expanded to become international concern, given his strong message of black liberation and Pan-Africanism. Right? Let me read this right here. This movement prospered, and today the Rastafari faith, let me read it, that Pan-Africanism that resonated with blacks across the globe. He formed a town commune called Pinnacle in St. Catherine Parish that became famous as a place for Rastafari. This movement prospered, and today the Rastafari faith is existed worldwide. Unlike many Rastafari, Howell never wore dreadlocks. You see? So these niggas just adding shit. This I told you, we showed pictures of this dude. He never even wore dreadlocks. The nigga that started Rastafari shit, he never even wore dreadlocks. I don't even think the nigga smoked weed. He don't even look like a ganja head. He was just a bug out. And now this shit has taken root amongst our people, and it just morphed into something else, something that it was never about. Unlike many Rastafari, Howell never wore dreadlocks. Leonard Howell died in Kingston, Jamaica, after suffering a vicious attack months earlier. That was judgment. He was slashed in the face and beaten badly. Judgment. At 83, that was straight judgment. The Lord got rid of this nigga badly. Although Leonard P. Howell suffered much abuse for the foundation of Rastafari, his legacy as a perceived true hero and leader of anti-colonialism root throughout Jamaica and the Caribbean. Yeah. So here it is. This nigga, you Jakes, you wearing this shit, and it don't go back to it don't even the founder of this bullshit. He didn't even wear this shit. I'm just looking for the whole when did so let's go back to this. Right? It says a spiritual movement based on a belief in Selassie's divinity. Its followers congregated around preachers like Leonard Howell, who founded the first prominent Rastafarian community in 1940. Additional branches surfaced by the 1950s. Within 2 decades, the movement had earned global attention thanks to the music of devoted Rastafarian Bob Marley. And he was a heathen. He wasn't a heathen like a natural heathen. He was a spiritual heathen. All right? Bob Marley was a spiritual heathen. That's what he was. He was an Israelite, but he was a heathen in the mind because he followed at the Rastafarianism, and he made that shit popular. Although the deaths of Selassie in 1975 and Marley in 81 took away most of the influential figures, Rastafarianism endorsed through following the United States, England, Africa, and the Caribbean. Yep. Background Rastafarian, Haile Selassie, rise of Rastafarian, just East Indian. You made this man a god, and he was nothing. He was nothing. He was nothing. Considered a dangerous. I'm just reading through this real quick. Just bear with me, brothers. Right here, modern Rastafarianism. The turning point for Rastafarianism came in 1975 when Emperor Selassie died and forced his followers to confront the contradictions of a living deity passing away. In 1981, the movement lost a second major figure with the death of Marley from cancer. Always a decentralized faith and culture, Rastafari attempted to introduce a unifying element with a series of international conferences. Yeah, and it ain't nothing. This shit came out of a mind of a wicked nigga. Leonard Howe, man. This shit came out of the mind of a wicked ass nigga. Now, cannabis came, let's see, because you jakes like to smoke that weed, and it's always associated with Rastafarianism, just like them dreadlocks. Cannabis in Jamaica is illegal, but possession of small amounts was reduced to petty offenses in 2015. Cannabis is locally known as ganja, which that word come from ganja is one of the oldest and most commonly synonyms for marijuana. Its usage in English dates before 1689. And the what's the name? The East Indians brought that shit over there. And international cannabis consumption plays a prominent role uh, in the nation's public image, being tied to cultural touchstones such as Rastafari and reggae music. Ganja tourists have been welcome in the 21st century. Blah 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 blah. I had saw something where it said the Jew. Here it is, right here. History: Cannabis was introduced to Jamaica in the 1850s, and we was in slavery during this time. In the 1860s, by import from licensed businesses often run by Jewish families. So here it is. Amalek bought that shit over there and drug Jake up. It says run by Jewish families in Bengal region of India, because that shit come from India, also known as Bangladesh and West Bengal, for consumption by indentured servants. Them East Indians used to love getting hired up. During the British rule on both nations, many of the terms used cannabis culture in Jamaica are based on Indian terms, including the term ganja. You see? You listen to niggas like Rick James. He had a song and he was called Mary Jane, talking about some gimme the ganja, you know? And you niggas run right to it. You know, that spirit of rebellion. You know, that spirit of rebellion. And Jake run right to it, man. Then there's medicinal purposes for all plants, you know? But it ain't to be blowing no fucking smoke, you know? But again, that ganja shit, it comes from them East Indians. Just like the whole weed smoking, the whole fucking dreadlock wearing shit, that's all East Indian. You people don't have no idea what you're doing. Ganja is Hindi pronunciation. It's one of the oldest terms commonly used synonyms for marijuana. Its usage dates before 1689. It says ganja is borrowed from Hindi, a name for cannabis, used as a drug. And that drug used get these people wired up for these demons to jump on them. It's derived from Sanskrit ganja, a powerful preparation from cannabis sativa. The word was used in Europe in the early 1856 when British enacted a tax on ganja trade. So they were trading weed back then, just like they're doing it now. There's nothing new under the sun. You know, nothing new under the sun. You know, ganja is most common. I used to have this article that talk about how these East Indians brought their shit to Jamaica. The Hindi origin of Rastafari liberty from 1845 to 1917, after the declaration of the emancipation of the African slaves in the colonial Caribbean, more than 36,000 East Indian immigrants were invited by the English to work on the Jamaican plantations. Among them were the Hindi priests. So this shit came from these Hindi priests, the dreadlock wearing, weed smoking, came from these dirty ass East Indians in their filthy mind, man. Right? Their priest, they brought their priest over there, and they made that shit popular. You know, that's even them East Indians look down on Jakes with fucking dreadlocks. But Jake, you don't look down on yourselves for that. You don't look down on them. You just take it on and make it your shit, and it ain't got nothing to do with you. You know, well, motherfucking E40 talking about some Jesus Christ had dreads to shake him. Yahweh Shai didn't have no fucking dreads. He had a fro. Yahweh Shai ain't had no dreadlocks. You know, that shit was made up out of your mind. You know. Anyway, it says more than 36,000 East Indian immigrants were invited by the English to work on the Jamaican plantations. Among them were the Hindi priests, the sadhus, known as the holy men, with nothing holy about these people. They were the first to plant marijuana plants in Jamaica, also known as ganja, from India, which is a sacrament to the Hindu goddess Kali. So you niggas getting high, you don't even know that you sacrificing to an idol named Kali. You going off. And you do it because it's in pop culture. Oh, it's popular to do. Oh, let's do it because Snoop Dogg does it. He gets high as a fucking kite, and you follow these niggas and everybody else. They make all these fucking weed movies, half baked, shit like that. Friday. Oh, come on, man, it's from the earth, man. You know, and you niggas, come on, Craig. let me stimulate your mind, Craig. You niggas going off. See, it says a sacrament. I don't know why I can't yeah, that nigga howl again. I'm gonna just look at the term for sacrament. Sacrament, the definition is a religious ceremony or ritual regarded as imparting a divine grace, such as baptism. So that's supposed to be a sacrament to some divine grace of Kali. So not only are you worshiping Shiva with the dreadlocks, then you worshiping Kali smoking the weed. You know, they were the first to plant marijuana plants in Jamaica, known as ganja, from India, which is a sacrament to the Hindu goddess Kali, the goddess of power, and Shiva or Mahadeva, the great god. So you smoking that weed, growing them dreadlocks, you worshiping Indian idols, man. Like the former black slaves, they lived in a rustic life. They were vegetarians and they wore dreadlocks. Ooh, cut. They wore dreadlocks. Their beliefs began to influence the Jamaicans, the Jakes. Hindu cult influenced Rastafari living. Rastafarians took the idea of Haile Selassie as a reincarnation of Jesus Christ, which, come on, man. This is because earlier many Jamaicans were not comfortable with Christianity because they thought it was a religion of their slave masters. Hinduism would turn out to be a revivalist culture as they accepted Kali, the Hindu goddess. So you niggas accepted another idol. You put down the white Christ, then you picked up the Hindu. Leonard Howell, alongside Joseph Hibbert, were the first preachers of the Rastafarian movement. Both of them were Garveyites, but unlike Hibbert, who was a Christian, Howell was not. He was leaning towards Hinduism. So you niggas in Rastafarianism, you niggas, you're basically Hindus. All you Jakes with this shit in your head, you niggas are Hindus. Tracy Chapman, her non-singing ass, all these niggas with dreads, you niggas are nothing but Hindus, man. And that's why the Lord said this through Paul, man. It says, this is 2 Corinthians. Oh, it's getting, I hope it's 2 Corinthians. 2 Corinthians 12? No, 1 Corinthians 12. 1 Corinthians chapter 12. I didn't mean to make this video so long. 12, 1 and 2. Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant. Ye know that ye were Gentiles carried away unto these dumb idols, even as you were led. And that's exactly what happened. Our people are carried away unto these dumb idols, man. And you're doing all these things that consist of that. And now you got these little niggas and niggas running around here with dreadlock hair because it's fashionable. But you don't know that you worshiping an idol, and you're going to get got for that. Whether you know it or not, you are worshiping idols. This has nothing to do with Israelite culture. Dreadlocks, smoking of the weed, none of that shit got nothing to do with our people. Jake, you do the drugs because you fucked up in the mind. You're hurting, and you don't want to get spiritually healed. So you put a band-aid on there that don't help you. It doesn't help you heal, which is this bullshit. Whether it's Christianity, whether it's Hinduism, that shit is wicked. It says Howell was not, he was leaning towards Hinduism. Howell was convinced that the white man had their God in Jesus Christ. Indians had their God in Brahma, and Asians had their God in Krishna and Buddha. Africans must have their God somewhere. So you worship fucking Haile Selassie. In 1930s, the coronation of Rastafari as the Emperor Haile Selassie, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, Leonard Howell declared him as the East African god. So this nigga, he's a bug out. This dude was a straight bug out with a suit on, right? He just deemed some nigga, some East Indian not even Hamitic. The dude wasn't even Hamitic. Idol as a Salakia, a god, and he wasn't. All right. It says says it says King of Kings, Lord of Lords. Leonard Howell declared him as an East African god. After the declaration of Leonard Howell then began to incorporate of Hindu cult to Rastafari. In the Ethiopian language of Aramaic, Haile Selassie means power. Haile of the Trinity, Selassie, and Rastafari as King Ras, as king, as Rastafari is king or Ras. Who inspired Tafari, a Hindu Rasta means path of divinity. The name Ganja for marijuana is the name after the Hindu goddess Ganja. It is believed that the Indians named the longest river Ganges after the secret goddess Ganja because of all the beautiful herbs that grow right in front of riverbanks. Oh my God. The smoking of the Ganja is invoking of the Hindu goddess Kali, the goddess of power. Ganja is part of the goddess Kali. The smoking of ganja is a sacrament to the Hindu holy men. The sadhus, same ganja is a sacrament Rastafari. The goddess Kali was hailed as the Jai Kali Ma'a, meaning victory to Kali Ma. Jai Kali Ma is interpreted as Jah Rastafari. You niggas are dumb. Vegetarianism and isolating menstruating women from the kitchen is a practice of the Hindu and the Hindi. So they keep their women out the kitchen when they on the rag, but they still around her. You niggas are going off. And then you try to gel that with the scriptures. The legend Bob Marley, the reggae icon, named himself Tough Gong. Yeah, a name associated with Leonard Howell, which is an Hindu word for trumpeter. And all these are the influences of the Indian Hindu culture and the Rastafari liberty. Let Jah Rastafari, no, he ain't gonna be praised. Fuck that. Let knowledge cover the earth so we know we are coming and where we're going. Yeah, this shit is wicked, man. So you Jakes, you get all into this shit and you don't know what you're into. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 2, verse 13 again. For my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken a fountain of living water and hewed them out cisterns, broken cisterns that can hold no water. And that's what those idols are. That's exactly what all of that shit is. From the dreadlocks to the smoking of the weed to the all of that shit that you Jakes are into, that shit is nothing but a broken cistern and it doesn't hold no living water. You know, is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? You see? Yep. Verse 19, thine own wickedness shall correct thee, yep, and thy backsliding shall reprove thee, yep. Know therefore and see that it is an evil thing and bitter that thou hast forsaken the Lord Yahweh Bashem Shai. And when you Jake start getting put to death and you start dying in boatloads, you're gonna wonder why is this happening? Why is this happening? Oh, because I got long hair, oh, because I got dreads, nigga, you're an idol worshiper, man. And you can't see it. You're an idol worshiper and you don't know it. And you don't want to know it. All right, you doing this shit thinking that it has something to go back to. Look at this Jakes. This nigga looking like an East Indian, man. Why you should not keep dreadlocks? Let me see what this says. says why you should not keep dreadlocks. It says there are several reasons why you should not keep dreadlocks. Well, dreadlocks, also known as locks or dreads, is a hairstyle whereby the hair is twisted, matted, or ripped, backcombed, and rolled for forms to form rope-like strands. Every hairstyle is good or bad depending on a preference of the wearer. Below, we have sampled some of the reasons which some people who didn't like their locks have given after their short-lived experience wearing dreadlocks. Hygiene. Dreadlocks need to be washed frequently, like normal hair. If a person is exposed to a dusty environment, lint, fur, and other dirt could get into the scalp and make your scalp very itchy or infected. Woe unto you if you are rained on and the hair doesn't dry well. The wet dog smell, yep. And I used to when I was married to this black demon in the world, she used to have dreadlocks and that shit used to stink. I could not stand the smell of her hair. It stunk. It smelled like shit. You know, a wet dog smell and misty aroma may scare people from coming close to you. Mildew, it's definitely smelled mildew. Mildew and mold may also grow in it if you go to sleep. You see? You see? And this is the Apostle Gabar is talking about. He's saying all this in his lesson. It says mildew and mold may also grow in it if you go to sleep when the locks are a bit wet. So unless you are on top of things when it comes to hygiene, dreadlocks are not for you. Migraines. Due to the pulling and twisting of the hair at the different angles when making the locks, someone may experience throbbing headaches that may even force them to take painkillers during their first experience. Pain also comes as a result of the extra weight and pulling about after the washing of the stage. And even Busta Rhymes said that. They asked him, will he put that shit back in his hair? And he said, no, it's just too much. Why? Because it's not natural. It's not natural. Uncomfortable. Wearing dreadlocks can be a bit uncomfortable when sleeping. The ropes like strands are not just comfortable like a normal hair on a pillow. And that is why some people resort to braiding the locks again and wrapping the head with a cloth, which restricts air and even blood circulation to the head as well. So you got to go through all of that to wear a fucking hairstyle, man. May cause baldness as they grow. And look at Lil Wayne, he's balding. As they grow and as the dreads get heavier and tighten, makes the locks break off from the hair root, resulting in hair loss. Look at Lil Wayne. Look at Lil Wayne. Just type in Lil Wayne dreads because he made that shit popular amongst Drake's too. Jake's too. Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne's dreads. Hey, look at this shit. He went from having all of this shit, the long hair, and look, he has baldness in his hair. And that comes from having his hair in dreadlocks, man. You know? And he got dreads and he just barely hanging on, and then they blind at that. This nigga is a fucking demon. He enticed a generation of children to write all over their body and their faces and to grow dreadlocks and to imitate him. You see? Why does Lil Wayne's have threads in his hairs? You know? Lil Wayne's a lock legend has been running around with threads in his dreadlocks. I can only guess why he did this, but let's look into it more a bit. I'm not going to play this video. But yeah, he went from having this shit, and y'all thought this shit was gangster, this shit was awesome. No, this shit is wicked. This shit is wicked. All right? Where we at? Where's we at? Slack, where was we at? I was reading something. Let me go back to this. Where was I at? Where is it at? Where is it at? Where is it at? Right here. It says may cause baldness. As they grow, the dreads get heavier and tightens makes the locks break off from their roots, resulting in a hair loss. With time, undoing the dreadlocks is tedious too, and the whole experience is quite uncomfortable. So people may resort to just shaving the whole head to bald at once. Time consuming, unwarranted attention, spiritual association. Some people associate dreadlocks to some cultures and spiritual connections, where some people wear it as a form of fashion, some use it significant religion, culture to or express some statement which most people find out the ordinary, these different connotations may isolate you. Yeah, because you a fucking heathen. This ain't associated with being an Israelite. This is associated with being a fucking heathen, a East Indian Hindu. You know, you got the Edomites, they put this shit on. That shit look disgusting in their hair too. But they're filthy people naturally. You see? You know, you watch fucking Lenny Kravitz and shit, and you get all into this shit, and you look at these other nations, and you get mad when Esau do it, but you culture appropriating too. This shit goes back to the East Indians. They don't go back to the Israelites. But you'll get mad when you see an Edomite with this shit, and that shit look even worse than Edomite hair. You know, but fuck them. They're not our people. You know? So this shit is just wicked, bro. And you shouldn't wear it. It ain't got nothing to do with being an Israelite. It has nothing to do with going back to worshiping the God of the Israelites, the God of the Bible, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Okay. And like Elder Apostle Gabar's lesson is titled, Are You a Disciple of the Lord Shiva, an Elamite deity who adorns Shiva Jatas, dreadlocks? And if you got that shit, then you are, unknowingly or knowingly. So with that, I say shalom, on to the next.